The Los Angeles Lakers are upgrading their perimeter defense with a free agent move they made on Monday. The Lakers have agreed to a one-year, $3.3 million contract with wing Matisse Thybulle, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. The agreement comes after Thybulle spoke with both J.J. Redick and Luka Doncic about his potential role with the team. Thybulle might serve as a replacement for Marcus Smart, a defense-first guard who left to join the Houston Rockets this offseason. He has been a consistently elite defender throughout his career and averaged over 2 steals per game in each of his last 2 seasons with the Portland Trail Blazers. As an added bonus, he also flashed some improved outside shooting by posting a 41.1% mark from 3 over the last 2 seasons. Injuries have limited Thybulle to 45 games over the last 2 seasons, but the clear hope is that those issues are in the past. Even in that limited sample, his defensive impact remained undeniable. According to ESPN research, Thybulle led the NBA in both steals and deflections per 36 minutes last season among players who appeared in at least 20 games, a statistic that speaks to just how disruptive he remains defensively whenever he's healthy enough to be on the floor. A 2-time member of the NBA's all-defensive second team, Thybulle has built his entire career around that kind of havoc-creating defense, even as his role and playing time have fluctuated significantly across stops in Philadelphia, Portland, and now Los Angeles. The circumstances surrounding his free agency were notable in their own right. Thybulle reportedly discussed returning to Portland, but according to sources cited by ESPN, he came away with the belief that the Trail Blazers weren't making a serious effort to retain him, offering him mostly non-guaranteed deals throughout the process. The Lakers also explored a sign-and-trade scenario with Portland that would have allowed Thybulle to command a higher salary than the one he ultimately signed for, but the two sides were unable to find common ground on that front, pushing him toward a straightforward free agent deal with Los Angeles instead. For a player already carrying some injury-related question marks, betting on himself with a one-year, prove-it contract in a contending situation next to Doncic may end up being the more prudent long-term play regardless of the lower guaranteed number. Throughout his career, Thybulle has struggled to be a reliable three-point shooter, averaging just 34.9% from deep across his 8 NBA seasons, which makes his recent surge to 41.8% over the past 2 years with Portland particularly notable. If that improved stroke carries over to Los Angeles, evaluators around the league believe this signing could end up looking like one of the best value additions of the entire offseason for a Lakers team that has already been aggressive in reshaping its roster. Originally the 20th overall pick out of Washington in the 2019 draft, the 29-year-old Thybulle is entering his 8th NBA season, having spent time with the Philadelphia 76ers before a multi-team trade sent him to Portland in February 2023, when he averaged 7.4 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.7 steals per game down the stretch. The Lakers are not necessarily done in free agency, but Thybulle does fill a key need on the perimeter. Clearly, he should be in line for a fairly significant role based on the assurances he evidently received from Redick and Doncic. That said, the signing carries added significance beyond simply addressing a hole in the rotation. According to Lakers insider Kobe Price of the California Post, the Thybulle addition brings a measure of relief to a front office whose pursuit of restricted free agent forward Jonathan Kuminga has reportedly reached an impasse. Kuminga, 23, became available after the Atlanta Hawks declined his roughly $24 million team option, and while Los Angeles remains engaged in talks, negotiations have stalled amid a gap between what the two sides believe he's worth. The Lakers remain interested in 23-year-old unrestricted free agent forward Jonathan Kuminga, but conversations have stalled as most of the league monitors LeBron James's highly anticipated decision on where he'll play his 24th NBA season, Price wrote. Price's earlier reporting sheds additional light on just how far apart the two sides remain. The Lakers have improved their offers to Kuminga up to a deal that would include an average annual salary around $10 million, which is less than the salaries of Grimes, $13.9 million, and Mamukelashvili, $13 million, Price wrote, referring to the earlier free agent deals Los Angeles struck with Quentin Grimes and Sandro Mamukelashvili. When factoring in the additions of Kessler, Sexton, and Looney, plus Reeves's $20.9 million cap hold, The Lakers would have to shed over $20 million in salary from their 2026 to 27 roster to create the requisite cap space to sign Kuminga at a salary that starts around $10 million. But it's clear that a $10 million salary for Kuminga won't get a deal done now. That kind of financial maneuvering, unwinding upwards of $20 million just to make room for one more piece, illustrates precisely why the front office turned to a modest, low-cost option in Thibault rather than continuing to bank everything on landing Kuminga at a price point he's shown little willingness to accept. Thibault's arrival gives Los Angeles a fallback plan at wing depth, but the 29-year-old alone may not be enough for the team to feel fully settled heading into the 2026-27 season, particularly after an offseason defined by the departures of LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and Marcus Smart. The Cleveland Cavaliers remain a competing suitor for Kuminga's services as well, though their pursuit has been complicated by their own roster planning, since Cleveland is reportedly waiting on James's free agency decision before finalizing its offseason strategy. According to team insider Jovan Boa, the Cavaliers can currently only offer Kuminga a deal that falls well short of the roughly 2-year, $10 million per year framework the Lakers have already put on the table, a gap that could ultimately leave Kuminga with limited leverage beyond signing in Los Angeles this summer if no other suitor steps forward with a more competitive offer. Even with that financial standoff still unresolved, Kuminga's appeal as a former lottery pick with substantial physical upside continues to make him one of the most closely watched names remaining on the free agent board. The Lakers aren't necessarily viewing him as a potential star addition. Rather, the hope internally is that he could develop into a steady two-way contributor capable of providing consistent offense and defense alongside Doncic and Austin Reeves, the same role Thibault himself now figures to occupy in a more limited capacity. Whether the sides eventually find middle ground on Kuminga, or whether Los Angeles ultimately rounds out its roster through other, less costly additions, the Thibault signing at least ensures the Lakers enter training camp with a proven, versatile perimeter defender locked in regardless of how the rest of the offseason unfolds. The move also fits into the much larger reconstruction project Rob Pelinka has been overseeing throughout the summer. Before adding Thibault, the Lakers had already brought in a wave of new pieces, including center Walker Kessler via sign-and-trade, along with free agent additions Quentin Grimes, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Colin Sexton, Kevin Looney, Jaden Hardy, and Zaire Williams. That flurry of moves came in direct response to a significant wave of outgoing talent, with Los Angeles losing LeBron James, Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Jackson Hayes, and Luke Kennard over the course of the same offseason. Taken together, those transactions represent one of the most sweeping roster overhauls the Lakers have undergone in recent memory, a clear signal that the front office is fully committed to building an entirely new supporting cast around Doncic and Reeves rather than trying to preserve continuity from the LeBron era. Without meaningful cap space remaining after that spending spree, the front office has increasingly had to rely on the trade market and minimum salary free agent signings, like the Thibault deal, to fill out the final pieces of the roster. That reality underscores why the Kuminga pursuit has proven so difficult to close. With limited financial flexibility left after already committing significant money to Grimes, Mamukelashvili, Sexton, Kessler, and Looney, the Lakers simply may not have the runway to meet Kuminga's asking price without shedding additional salary elsewhere on the roster, a maneuver that would require finding a willing trade partner for one of their newly signed pieces. It's the kind of roster puzzle that has defined much of the Lakers' offseason strategy, threading the needle between adding immediate, complementary talent around their two all-star guards while still leaving open the possibility of a bigger swing if the right opportunity or the right price on a player like Kuminga eventually presents itself. For now, though, the addition of Thibault gives Los Angeles a low-risk, low-cost defensive specialist who fills an immediate need at a fraction of what a Kuminga deal would have cost, and it does so without requiring the front office to sacrifice any further flexibility heading into training camp. It remains to be seen just how much of a role Redick ultimately carves out for the veteran wing once the regular season begins. But given the clear defensive gap left behind by Marcus Smart's departure, and given the reassurances Thibault reportedly received directly from both his new head coach and his new franchise cornerstone, all signs point toward him being an active, trusted piece of the Lakers' rotation from opening night forward. There's also a broader stylistic upside to consider with Thibault specifically joining a roster built around Doncic's playmaking. Unlike more offense-oriented wings, Thibault has never needed the ball in his hands to be effective, and his game translates naturally into a complementary, off-ball role next to a high-usage engine like Doncic. His length and instincts allow him to guard multiple positions on the perimeter, from shifty combo guards to bigger wings, giving Redick real flexibility in how he deploys him depending on matchups. That kind of positional versatility becomes especially valuable in the playoffs, when opposing offenses tend to hunt mismatches relentlessly, and having a proven, switchable stopper available off the bench, or even in spot starts, gives the Lakers another layer of defensive insurance as they continue building out a roster designed to compete in a deep Western Conference. Combined with his recent improvement as a three-point shooter, Thibault's profile suggests he could end up being far more impactful than his modest one-year, $3.3 million price tag would otherwise suggest. If you've watched this far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.